Jaipur, known by many around the world as the Pink City, is the capital of the state of Rajasthan in India. But this city's outer regions are also becoming the capital for some other inhabitants. Jaipur's forested areas are the home to a high number of leopards, coining it the leopard capital of India. In today's video, we look at how both leopards and people are living on the edges of the city. Today I'm going to be joining Dr. Joy Gardner from the NGO Hope and Beyond to go into the natural zones around Jaipur to learn about the leopard. But before we actually go into the forest, we are now on our way to one of the villages on the outskirts of Jhalana Leopard Reserve to see what type of wildlife conflict mitigating strategies they've put in place to not only help villagers protect their livestock but also protect this magnificent species.
We have seen a leopard here.
He has seen a leopard here?
Yeah. This side is Galta forest.
Yeah.
What we call Amagad forest nowadays. This is Amagad forest.
But this is Amagad Leopard Reserve already?
Yeah, Amagad Leopard Reserve. And this one is Jhalana.
And this is Jhalana.
Yeah, after half kilometers, like Jhalana boundary starts, but there is no boundary.
And the road is like right in the middle.
Yeah, it's right in the middle. Right now we don't have any bridge. Everything else, like the leopards who are inside the Jhalana, they are stuck inside Jhalana only. If they want to move, if they want to migrate from Jhalana to Amagad, they have to cross this road.
They have to cross the road.
So there are a few moments when I saw the leopard on this stone.
Yeah.
And like this whole area was traffic jammed. And people were standing there and watching the leopard.
I'm watching the leopard. Okay, so over here, what Dr. Joy is saying is we have the actual boundary of Jhalana, which is the leopard reserve, or one of the leopard reserves. And now we're actually going into the village. Dr. Joy, can you actually explain like where we are at the moment and why we are here specifically?
So we are in Khania village.
Yeah.
This village is in between Jhalana and Galta forest, which is called Amagad forest. And this was a major area where we have worked during our project Pardus.
Yeah.
And in this area, I cannot say there is a conflict, but I can say it is the best example for coexistence of leopards and humans.
Yeah.
You can see here, there are some rocks on that temple.
Yeah.
We have seen a leopard. On those rocks also, we have seen leopards. On those rocks also, we have seen leopards. There's a tree there. On that tree, we have seen leopards mating.
Mating.
Yeah. So, and there is a regular movement of leopards in that water hole.
Down here.
Water hole. And if you place a camera trap or something like that there, you can easily see a leopard moving here.
Moving here.
So there are so many species of wildlife like leopards, hyenas, desert foxes, porcupines.
This is a very frequently visited area by leopards and other wildlife species. So it's going to be interesting to see what they actually do in the village here and to talk to somebody and get their experience on it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is the photo that was taken. And that is the location. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Over here, this is where the leopards were. So actually in the villages around Jhalana, Dr. Joy with Hope and Beyond had Project Pardus. This was in collaboration with some other organizations as well. And what they did is they actually went into the villages and started coming up with ideas to create a more peaceful coexistence between people and leopards. Now, this project finished in 2019, but the strategies are still in place today. And we're actually going to go and check them out very shortly.
और इस एरिया में चारों तरफ ही लेपर्ड है और
Shubham is a village resident and trooper for this area. Together with the help of Hope and Beyond and Project Pardus, some villagers here have dedicated their efforts in collecting information about the leopards in the area, as well as teach other villagers on how to protect themselves and their animals from the leopards. He, together with the other troopers, play an important role in the protection of leopards in the area, and because the village does not retaliate on leopards, they have become an important social boundary to Jhalana Leopard Reserve.
So there are some incidences when leopard took away their dogs. Maybe 2 or 3 times leopard took away their dogs. So now they are preparing this mesh so that leopard cannot do that thing again.
Get in and get the actual dogs. Wow. So as we talked about earlier, there is a watering hole, and that is this one, which is right next to the temple over there. And there have been many leopard sightings, many hyena sightings, all in this watering hole. So I think that's quite fascinating. Also, another thing is up on the hill, and I'll show you now over there, you have got these incredible cameras that are supplied by solar panels, so the electricity. These during the day can actually spot animals and people from 6 kilometers away, and at night they have the infrared, which spots animals up to 1 kilometer away, I believe. So they can already, see animals in this region pretty quickly. And then what Dr. Joy was telling me is that they also have the AI coming up, which can actually distinct between the animals, whether it's a leopard, a hyena, if it's a tiger, if it's a human. So in that way they can collect more data. They also know if an animal is coming out of the reserve, and if an animal comes out of the reserve, it will actually give a notification in Jhalana as well as in another main office, so that they can go and check it out. So I think that is really fascinating. So as you can see, this is not your regular camera. It is absolutely massive. And behind here we have the solar panels. And then you have this massive tower over here. And at the top of the tower are actually the 2 cameras. But they of course have a huge radius that they can look out over. We're now going to go see the cattle cages, right? Okay. So as you can see behind me here, the cattle is chilling, and what Dr. Joy is saying is that previously the cattle protection fences were made of this mesh, but now they've actually got full brick and stone and everything to protect the cattle. How effective is this?
This one is very good because a leopard cannot breach the fence.
Yep.
And this one is more better because the animals will get protection from temperature also.
They get so this is probably a lot cooler in the summer?
Cooler in summer, and it will be more warmer in winter.
In winter. So this gets quite comfortable.
So those who have good money, they can make this thing.
They're going to make this. Yeah, and then there was another thing that we talked about, and this is if a cattle gets killed, they do get compensated, right? They get some sort of compensation for that.
So if a wild animal comes inside the village and kills a animal in the village, inside the village, outside the protected area, then the owner will get a compensation.
Okay.
Earlier, that compensation was 1/3 of what they are getting today. So after our project, we have forced government to increase the compensation. And now it is like for a goat, earlier it was 1,000 rupees, and now it is 3,000 rupees.
Yeah, and what you were telling me, because we've had a conversation about this, that the price of a goat is about 5,000 rupees.
It's approximately 4,000 to 5,000 rupees. But still they are getting less amount, but at least they're
getting a bit more. So so people are actually getting compensated for animals that are lost outside of the boundary walls. But this, of course, is going to do the absolute prevention first of all. So preventing is probably better than the aftermath. And as you can see, a cow would be quite secure in an area like this. What the residents were saying is that they actually had a sighting a few days ago right over here. So you can imagine the leopard is over here and you have cattle over there. So they are in very close proximity to each other. Where we just were at has a beautiful example of coexistence because they're keeping the leopards out. So this means that they can have their livestock, and obviously there will not be any repercussions for the leopards. But unfortunately, this is not the case with all of the villages surrounding Jhalana and the other leopard areas because there are repercussions for leopards. You know, if they've killed livestock, they can get poisoned. Also, they're losing their habitat because of encroachment. And another threat, of course, is roads and fragmentation, so meaning the breaking up of actual habitats. It's nice to see an example of something that is going well, but this is not the case everywhere. But of course, somehow this is also understandable because I can imagine that if your livestock is being killed on a regular basis, you're not going to be too happy about that. So yeah, it's just finding solutions and ways of helping other villages as well so that they can coexist with the leopard and both sides are happy. Okay, so like I mentioned, Jaipur has 2 leopard reserves, and this is the first, Jhalana, we will be entering later, and this is Amaga.
this is Amaga.
This is first, yeah, and this is Amaga. What Range Officer Janeswar explained to us is that the first thing they needed to do to protect the forest was to build a protection wall to stop the wild animals from leaving the reserve and keep humans out of the forest, which also reduced the amount of trash in the forested area. Once the forest was protected, they implemented a few things, such as placing camera traps to count and identify leopards in the region. Once a healthy population was established, they started offering ecotourism safaris in Jhalana. We've left the ranger's office and we're now actually going to go into Jhalana, but I thought it was very interesting to learn about, well, the benefits that the boundary wall has had on the reserve and how that has been keeping people out, and how in turn it's protecting people but also protecting the leopards. But now I'm very excited because we're going to go into the reserve itself and we're going to go, well, hopefully see a leopard. Just entered Jhalana Leopard Reserve with some incredible people. They are extremely knowledgeable about the leopards here and are, well, avid conservationists in the area. And also some of their photos were in the interpretation center, and they make incredible photos, but they also have a mission here in the Jhalana Leopard Reserve. So I feel very honored to be in a vehicle with such knowledgeable people in search of leopards.
So the story here about this area is that this used to be a place for mining stones till about 1979. Then Supreme Court banned mining in Aravali, in and around Jaipur on the Aravali Hills.
90s.
So in 1983, mining and everything was completely stopped. And the best part is that once human intervention stopped, the forest started regenerating itself. So all these trees and the plants that you see now have come up after the mining has stopped. Not just the trees, we also have a female leopard here. We call her Mrs. Khan. So Khan is the Hindi name for mines. Or we call her Khanwali, or the female who resides in the mines. And she is one of the most productive of the females which Jhalana over a period of 10 to 12 years has seen. In the last, I think, 6 years, she's given a litter of 7 cubs. 7 litters she's given, around 11 to 12 cubs she's given. So it's just that you just need to leave nature alone. You don't need much human intervention. If you just leave it alone, it will regenerate and it will be productive for everybody.
So to monitor the leopard population here in Jhalana, there are also camera traps. So these guys use camera traps to identify the leopards and see their movements. And one of the areas that has got the camera traps is, I don't know if you can see it, this watering hole right behind me. This is a face.
This is the face. So like here, both the face marks are the same. It's very difficult to make out, but it takes, you have to have a lot of patience to
do this, and also because it's like different environments. Okay, so we're going to be saying goodbye to zone number 1 and following the track into zone number 2. As I've been explained, Jhalana has 3 different zones, 2 valleys and 1 complete different looking zone. So I'm quite curious to see what the changes are going to be in the environment. So we've made it to the top of an old hunting palace that has the most incredible views of everything. Tap this. Over here we have Jaipur in the background, and then we have all these incredible mountains and the valley. It is such a good view. Now, you can actually come to Jhalana on safari tours, but if you want to get to this hunting palace, you have to buy an extra ticket. But I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it because we've got the sun setting, the beautiful views, and you just get a full 360-degree view of this incredible landscape. Just some interesting information. It's not just Jaipur that you see here. You see Jaipur here, And then over here is also Jaipur. So Jhalana is actually surrounded by the city, and it is a piece of, well, reserve that is also connected, you know, going up towards Delhi. But as you look around this whole reserve, you can still see the city, which is actually quite a fascinating sight. So what might be hard to imagine is that in Jhalana you actually have about 2 leopards per square kilometer. Now what they were telling me a bit earlier is that usually you would have about a leopard per 10 square kilometers or 20 square kilometers. But Jhalana is proving that the leopard is so adaptable to its surroundings that you now have about 2 leopards per square kilometer, and that is pretty insane, man. These leopards are thriving on the edge of a major urban zone. While sitting down with Dheeraj and Dhirendra, I learned about the tourism happening in Jhalana. What they explained is that it is key that tourism is done responsibly here, because the landscape is leopard dominated, and leopards are very shy animals. Their first instinct is to run away when they sense danger. As Jhalana is surrounded by city, it is important they feel safe in the landscape so they don't go and flee, because this would lead them into the city. This is why the reserve has strict tourism regulations, such as a limited amount of vehicles in the park and the reduction of noise. But allowing people to see leopards in the natural habitat is very important in connecting them with the natural world. So we're huddled up back in the vehicle because we've heard a certain, well, they have heard a certain bird call, which means that there could be a leopard down below. So we're rushing off to the scene. Oh my gosh. So up on the hill, we have finally spotted a leopard. This is the first time I'm seeing a leopard in real life, in my life. And it's insane. It's right up on the ridge. Oh my gosh, look at that. I cannot believe that that is there. Well, as you can see, we've made it back to the entrance of Jhalana, and man, I can't believe I've seen my first ever wild leopard. And the thing is, like what they were saying, it is absolutely true. It's more about the experience that is going through everything than only seeing the leopard. Like, it has been such a great day with these guys, learning about the leopards, learning about this ecosystem. So yeah, so far so good. So it's time to say goodbye to Jhalana, because we are now going back to the village to see if we can actually make a sighting of a leopard outside of the forest. Okay, so we're back at the boundary wall of Jhalana. But so you were saying that there's been recent movement here by leopards, right?
There is a regular movement here. From past few days, there is a regular movement of leopards in this area. They just come from this side, they cross this road and go to that side.
Okay. So there is potentially a chance that we will see.
So there are 3 leopards, one female with 2 cubs.
2 cubs and a female. Okay, let's keep our eyes open. After a brief walk and not finding any leopards outside the boundary wall, Dr. Joy and I had another chat with troopers Shubham and Raj. Here they explained that since they grew up near the forest, they know that it is home to many animals, and that is why they think it is important to look after it. They see this area as a heritage and a responsibility to make sure it stays safe. Raj and Shubham play an important role in the community, as they are the go-to people in the village if anything occurs with a leopard. They help to teach people in the village about the leopards and the compensation they can get if anything happens to their livestock. Whenever an issue arises, people now know that they have to go to them because they have ties with NGOs and the department. What was later mentioned is how the younger generation is looking up to them and aspiring to be like them. Their younger brothers have also become troopers. Today has been such an insightful day, joining Dr. Joy, going into the villages and seeing how they are coexisting with the wildlife on the edge of Jhalana. I can understand that, living near wildlife can be quite complicated, but with these mitigation strategies, you are reducing the risk of the livestock that will be preyed on by these predators, and by that helping, the villagers as well as helping the leopards in the reserve. Now, today has been extremely eye-opening because I even got to see my very first leopard in the wild. And I think it's really cool to see and meet other people, different people from different backgrounds, and see how they are somehow trying to protect the leopard and its habitat. So I had an awesome day, and I can highly suggest that if you're going to be in the area of Jaipur, to book yourself a safari to go and see these majestic animals out in the wild. It is really a beautiful experience. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the subscribe button, and then I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for joining till the end of this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.